And Roy and Lou. So, like I said, everybody, we got Lou here from Wake Up and Work, the owner and founder of Wake Up and Work. So, just give a nice little intro about yourself, and so we can get this thing started.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I appreciate you having me on the show. Very first episode. Congratulations. It's exciting to see kind of what you guys are going to be able to build and the content you'll be able to create and the value you're going to provide. First and foremost, obviously, for those of you watching that don't know me, my name is Louie Pisano. I'm the owner and founder of Wake Up and Work, properly supported by Corey, from Ocean Township, New Jersey. Spent the first 24 years of my life there. I moved to Las Vegas in January 2016, where the end of that year, October, November 2016, I started the Wake Up and Work concept. It started out as a hashtag. You know this just as much, if not more than anybody else.
Yeah, like I said, I was telling them before that like we just started out a simple hashtag and simple, just a white and black T-shirt, like the original.
Yeah, bro. White, black, and red T-shirt. White, black, and red was the first colorway. For me, obviously, coming from playing 3 sports year-round as a kid, playing high school football, I was always into fitness and always into working out. And then things just kind of got away from me later in high school. Drank a lot. I got to a point where I was 23, overweight for my size. I was 5'2", 177 pounds, 25% body fat. I was Fat Lou, as he was known. I was pretty much a borderline alcoholic, and a lot of things got in the way in my life, and I started to blame the world for my problems, started to blame everybody else for not being happy or being where I wanted to be in life, and I always found myself at the bottom of a bottle. Whether it was a beer can, a beer bottle, a liquor bottle. I was big on dark liquor when I was younger. Coincidentally enough, I probably haven't had drank dark liquor in about 4 or 5 years now. But moving into 2013, I kind of reached the apex of my decline, so pretty much my rock bottom. Again, I was a borderline alcoholic. I had anxiety and depression issues, a lot going on in my life. I let a lot of my personal issues get in the way of being happy and successful. And I really just let, kind of what happened to me in life at a younger age, and when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, get in the way of me being happy and get in the way of me being successful and get in the way of me believing that I was able to be successful and happy. And it was kind of a snowball effect, a domino effect. It just kind of trickled into every part of my life. So playing sports my whole life, I started working out around 14, 15 years old on the regular, playing high school football. And then I continued that on, progressively got more and more into fitness and lifting, and everyone around me was so much bigger. Everyone continued to grow this way, and I just grew this way. So I stopped growing at a certain age, at a certain point, and I didn't care about what I put in my body, what I ate, what I drank, whatever. And then again, going back to things that happened to me, I lost my financial aid right when I graduated high school, when I was about to go to school at East Carolina University. That made me pretty depressed for about 6 months. I ended up doing community college right out of high school, which ended up being the best thing for me, but I didn't see the positive in kind of the opportunity, so to speak. I fell into a little bit of a depression, anxiety, got very overweight, very obese for my size at the time. And then one day in 2013, I started Shaun T's Insanity workout set, that I asked for Christmas, the Christmas prior. It was March 2nd, 2013. I did Insanity, 67-day workout, and then I never looked back. So I look at fitness as it didn't just kind of change my life for the better, it saved my life because of the path I was going down. But kind of tailoring back to how Wake Up and Work started, while I was living in Vegas, I wanted to take my fitness to the next level, from a nutritional and just body fat percentage, and kind of just from a healthy perspective. So when I started the fitness journey in 2013, I ended up losing about 33 pounds all in all. I lost about 15% body fat. The lowest I got down to was about 145, 142 pounds. Right before I moved to Vegas in late 2015, I did powerlifting competition. I was competing at 142 pounds. So in a less than 3 year span, I lost a little over 30 pounds. Fast forward a year into living in Las Vegas, I wanted to kind of elevate my fitness level to the next level. And then I used hashtag Wake Up and Work as a self-motivational tool for me to wake up early every day, for me to get to the gym and do fasted cardio every day before I went to work. 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. Was my typical wake up time. I'd be in the gym around 6. I'd do cardio and core for about an hour, hour and a half. I'd go home, have breakfast, go to work, 8, 10, 12, 14-hour days. And then I'd go home, I'd go back to the gym and do weights, and then I'd go home and work on some other things. That was pretty much my schedule for an 8 to 9 month span, but I kind of want to prelude into how that happened. So for the first 30 days or so, I was obsessed with Gary Vee. For those of you that don't know who he is, it's Gary Vaynerchuk, the CEO of VaynerMedia. He is, if you don't know him, you have to look him up. He's just the right guy to know and the right guy to kind of learn from and follow when it comes to digital marketing, social media. No, he's looked at as a motivational guy, but that's the tail end of who he is. So I watched a video of Gary Vee one day, and then I spent the next 8 hours, a full day off, watching all Gary Vee content. And then the next 30 days, I probably spent about 4 to 6 hours throughout each day watching Gary Vee clips. So in the first 30 days of watching Gary Vee, I pretty much learned every single thing that he says in every single video, because his thing is he repeats his content over and over again in different ways for people to understand differently. So I did that for 30 days, and I started using my own hashtag wake up and work. Every morning I woke up to get to the gym, and I started putting it out there on Snapchat, because that's when it was big on Snapchat. I started using Instagram stories, and then slowly but surely what I started to do was I would take a motivational picture and send it to every single person on my Snapchat list. So at the time it was around 400 or 500 people. And I was getting, by the second week, I did that for about a month and a half. This is around November 2016. And after the first couple weeks, I was getting about 200 to 300 responses. So people were hitting back, even with just prayer hands, a fist, a heart, thank you so much, whatever it was. And then it started to elevate, and people started to reach back out to me and send me text messages saying, hey, thanks for the support, thanks for the motivation, really means a lot, I really needed the kick in the ass today. Regardless of how important it was to people, and regardless of how people took it seriously or not, or even just saying like a peace sign, like thank you, it meant something. And it didn't just mean something to them, it meant something to me. And it made me feel like there was an idea there. And one thing that I've always wanted to do with this fitness journey was kind of going back to insanity. What it showed me when I lost all that weight and body fat was the opportunities and possibilities I was able to achieve if I just put in that work. So what insanity showed me was the amount of hard work I put into the effort that I was giving was going to result into the results I receive on the back end. So the wake up and work, concept and idea came from, when you put in the work, you're going to get the results. It's literally that simple. That's what it boils down to. Putting in the work, you get the results in every asset and facet of your life, which it's, oddly enough, it's hard for people to see that.
With the whole putting in the work, I was going to bring me to my third question, because you answered the first two, the year you started Wake Up and Work and what made you start. So the third question I want to get to, how was it at first starting the whole business and brand? Go about, how was it? Far as, was it easy? Was it hard? Was it smooth sailing?
So there's nothing easy about starting a business, and anyone that started a business knows that, right? It's not something where you're just gonna, hey, I'm starting a business, oh, now I'm a millionaire. It just doesn't work that way, which, contrary to popular belief, some people actually believe that they're just gonna start a business and it's gonna turn into a magical unicorn overnight. So the business idea didn't really start until around mid-2017. So I ran with that concept of, hashtag wake up and work every morning for 4 to 5 months. So I used that, and then, a few months into 2017, I was like, all right, there's something there. People like it, people engage with it, people react to it, people respond. There's people that are responding back to your DMs and motivational pictures and messages and so on and so forth. And then one day I saw a t-shirt online. It was a blank t-shirt, so I downloaded this app called Fonto. It's Phonto. I started playing with Wake Up and Work in different fonts and different looks to it. And sure enough, the shirt that you're wearing, the font is called Capture It. That's the font that I looked at, and I literally laid out Wake Up and Work how it is on your shirt, if you want to show everyone on the camera. That's what I did with that colorway in 3 different colors. So the first one was a white t-shirt, the Wake Up and was black, and then the work was red. And then the concept that you're wearing, and then a red t-shirt where the wake up and was white and the work was black. Those are my first 3 t-shirts that I came up with. for men. And for women, it was just those same exact colorways, but tank tops. So I had a few connections in Vegas that people that were pretty tied into several different industries. One of them being Keith Owens. He was one of my boys that he was running this gym called Athletic Gains. It was a gym that I worked out at frequently in Las Vegas. They train a lot of pro athletes, a lot of D1 prospects, a lot of college athletes. So I would train there once in a while. He had a buddy back in Philly, which is obviously close to NJ, who did clothing apparel as far as printing, screen print, shipping, the whole nine. So he was in Vegas one day and we linked up and he showed me clothing options, he showed me product material, so on and so forth. So I gave him the logo that I had come up with. This is around now April or May 2017, and he sent me a sample and I was like, dope, that's it, bet, like let's get that going. So that ended up being the very first shirt, was the white version of the one you're wearing. May 2017, the week of Memorial Day weekend, I purchased my LLC, I purchased my seller's permit for the state of Nevada, I got my IRS tax set up, I got my business license set up. I did everything in about a 4-day span. I even started to create a business plan, which at the time I didn't really need just because of the small concept I was going with. And then right before Memorial Day weekend 2017, I received my business license in the mail from the state of Nevada while I was living in Vegas. Over the next couple months, I saved a little bit of money here and there, and I started to kind of build out the branding concept for what it was. And it was really just the 3 t-shirts I just outlined between men and women, red, white, and black t-shirt and a red, white, and black tank top for women. I ordered about 100 t-shirts as my first order, and what I did was I had my website built out and everything, but what I did with those first 100 t-shirts was I sent them out to people for free. I got addresses from everybody that kind of I was affiliated with, like yourself. Some people in Vegas, including Paulie D, who I had a professional relationship with for about 6-7 years. Jay Cutler, huh? Yeah, from Harris Pool After Dark. I had one delivered to Jay Cutler, Mr. O himself, 4-time Olympia champion, living in Las Vegas. A lot of athletes, a couple people that are still in the NFL, like Bennett Jackson, who's with my favorite team, the Jets. Rick Lovato, who is a long snapper for the Philadelphia Eagles. So just a couple people here and there, but it was 100 free items that, you know what, it's pretty expensive. It's about $1,000 worth of product that I just sent out for free, just to kind of start to get the word out there. A bunch of college friends, a bunch of fitness influencers that ended up not really being influencers, but that's how I got started. And then I built the website out in it took me about a month. I did it on GoDaddy. I built that out, and then I lined it up strategically to launch. So I launched the brand. I went public with the brand on Thursday, September 14th, 2017. That was the official day that I went live. And I did that with the goal in mind to 1 year later, coincidentally when you came out to Vegas, Friday, September 14th, 2018, my 1-year anniversary I celebrated at Mr. Olympia as an expo booth that weekend. So I kind of lined it up, but just to kind of go into, this is the learning lessons for people that start a business of what not to do. So that life I lived of waking up at 5:30 in the morning, going to the gym, working all those hours, getting back in the gym and building the brand late night until 1-2 a.m. There was 6 nights a week for about 9 months I was sleeping 4 hours. Now for me, I thrived. I was very productive. I never lapsed any production and productivity. Once about every 3 or 4 weeks, I would have one day where I would crash, where I would just be completely worn out, completely done. I wouldn't leave my apartment. I wouldn't leave the couch, and I would just fucking chill. But I was thriving, and I was so energized by the ambition and the ability to help kickstart a brand.
With that, with the less amount of sleep, and because when people sleep less, they start to second guess themselves, or basically is this really worth it, and all that type of stuff there. So my fourth question, before we get Cam on here, did you have any doubts?
It's a funny question. I didn't necessarily have doubts about the branding and about the concept, because as simple as it is and as how simplistic as it sounds, wake up and work, it's relatable and relative to everybody. No, regardless of who you are, regardless of what you do, regardless of your goals, each and every day, and I'll kind of tailor back to kind of my perception of wake up and work and what it means to me most of all, is that can mean something different to everybody. Somebody reached out to me when I first started the brand that said, thank you so much for the push and motivation. I'm a 40-year-old single mom of 3. My job every day is to wake up and go to work with my kids. And she's like, and when I mean go to work, I mean take care of my kids and infants and toddlers all day long. So it means something different to everybody, right? To a police officer, it's you wake up to protect your city. To a doctor, it's you wake up and you save lives, right? It's relatable and tailored to everybody. For me, I didn't really start to see progress in my life until I did Insanity back in 2013. And again, the results I received from that just was accumulation and culminated from realizing the amount of effort and work I put into something. It made me literally wake up and realize that. It opened my eyes to understand the concept of how much you can achieve with putting in the work. So for me, wake up and work means waking up to understand what you're capable of achieving and putting in the work to get there. So I didn't really have doubts in the brand itself, but I had doubts in kind of the way I was pursuing the process because I never started a business before and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I don't care who you are. If you're a first-time business owner and you're starting a business for the first time and it's a niche item or it's a clothing line or it's accessories and jewelry or it's hats or whatever the fuck it is, if you've never done it before, if you've never been in a business setting, you don't know what you're doing. I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter, right? So for me, I've been in business now for going on 10 years. I started in retail management in 2009, so a little over 10 years. I did that for 3 years. I worked in nightlife and hospitality on the promotion side for 3 years. And then I worked in operations management for 6.5 years, being a GM for the last 4.5 years. So I was involved in business and I knew how business worked, but I didn't know how to run my own business and start a brand. So I doubted that I was going to be able to kind of keep it going, but I never doubted the branding itself and the message itself. So it's a funny concept, and not funny. It's a segue, right? So obviously for me, I didn't want to push fitness on people. For me, it was fitness the thing that changed my life. And saved my life is what I just explained in the cord because of the path I was going down. Everybody has that one thing that they hold on to that, kind of helps them out in whether it's dark times, good times, bad times, rough times, whatever it may be. And for me, where I was at that point in my life in 2013, fitness mentally and emotionally saved me more than anything else. So when it comes to fitness people, and a lot of people kind of overlook this part of it, everyone thinks, ego, big ego, they think they're better than everyone, but that's not necessarily the case. With a lot of people, it's our escape. So for me, instead of escaping to the bottom of a liquor bottle, I started escaping to the gym. And being alone with the weights and just hearing the iron and getting that pump and feeling a weight lifted off your shoulder, that's kind of what helped me become a better person. More so physically, mentally and emotionally than anything else. So the benefits of the mental and emotional improvements that I was able to kind of take on through fitness, it just kind of helped me become the person that I am today. So that's why I chose the fitness outlook. But we'll kind of segue into it as the show moves along. But from April, May 2019 through this past August, I underwent a 16-month rebrand of the branding itself, kind of what I'm wearing right now in this video with some additional branding as well. And the concept and the outlook and kind of the mission, vision, and focus on the brand itself, which is why we transitioned to not just fitness, but fitness, athleisure, and lifestyle. Because again, alluding to what I spoke about in the last couple minutes with Corey was the wake up and work concept is relatable in so many different facets that I didn't want to stick to just one simple niche in fitness. Even though it's so saturated, it kind of presents a better position for me to kind of pivot and position myself to satisfy fitness, athleisure, and the lifestyle market, especially in the day we're in today.
Right. No, man, that's great. You're reaching out to everybody, not just those encompassed in the fitness world. And I think that's very, very, very cool, man. I think that's very cool.
Right. And I think segueing into 3 different niches, so to speak, it allows other people to kind of take ownership of their accountability in the brand itself, and kind of it helps them relate to it easier than just looking at it, oh, that's a fitness brand. That's not
right, man. I think that's a great concept. You have a great concept behind, wake up and work, man. I think it can reach a lot of people that didn't think, like you're saying, just being just fitness is not just fitness. It's everyday struggles and stuff like that they can kind of relate to and expand on. But that's
Right.
cool, man.
Yeah, it's beneficial in so many ways, and it's the concept that, I'll say it again, and this is something that I've been reiterating over and over, is regardless of who you are, regardless of what you've been through, regardless of what you've dealt with, regardless of the cards you've been dealt, every single one of us has to pursue this wake up and work concept every single day to get to where we want to be. It's that simple.
Right, man. Hey, next one. Let's hit to that next question. All right. So I know you kind of spoke about it before. Your fitness transformation. But dive into that a little bit more, man. Like your personal fitness experience, man. What was that like from the very beginning to like where you're at now? To take us on more of an in-depth look of that journey.
Yeah, so it really started back when I was 14. Playing high school football, we had to do a lot of strength and conditioning. My strength coach is named Joe McCullough. He's a world champion in master class for bench. He's held bench press record. He's held squat records, deadlift records. And he kind of really taught me, to this day, 90% of what I know about fitness. He was our strength coach for football in high school. The guy really kind of helped me channel my anger and aggression and anxiety and depression and all this fucking hate towards the world, towards fitness. So back when I was a freshman in high school, or sophomore in high school, we did strength and conditioning training at his gym in Eatontown, New Jersey. And he allowed everyone on our team to do the first month for free. And then after that, you had to pay just like everyone else, just like all the other athletes. I couldn't afford it. And, him and my coach, I was very close with both of them. And he knew it, but I loved working out with him. I was in there 2 extra days a week then scheduled. So what he did is that season, he allowed me to work out for free. So he did me a huge favor. He knew I couldn't afford it. My family didn't have money. I didn't come from money. I was in a bad position in my life. At the time, I was living with just my grandmother, essentially. So I kind of had to mature on my own at a faster rate and kind of help raise myself, so to speak. But I owe it to a few mentors in high school that helped me get there. So not to ramble too much off course, Joe got me to where I needed to be to understand the basics of lifting and fitness. And being a short, compact person, I was a running back in high school, and I played a little bit of linebacker and D-back. So my wheelhouse was squatting and deadlifting, and that'll segue kind of down the road. So played high school football, did a lot of strength and conditioning. I trained with Joe for 4 years. Then I went into community college, where I kind of just started doing all my own thing, including all the drinking, all the eating, all the fucking madness and partying, and then I just blew up. If you check out my Instagram page, you'll see transformation pictures and kind of how a lot of bad things that happened to me in my life got me to where I was, overweight, with anxiety, depression, and just kind of in a very dark place in my mind. And then when I transitioned into my fitness journey, I lost all that weight. I lost about 35 pounds over a 3-year span, 16% body fat. And then I reached back out to Joe, Coach Mac, we called him. I reached back out to him after, not really talking much for about 4 years post-high school. And I told him I wanted to compete in powerlifting. And as soon as I thought about competing in powerlifting, there wasn't one person that came to mind besides him. Just because I knew who he was, I knew what he can do. So I trained with him in powerlifting. When you do powerlifting meets, usually you train for 10 to 12 weeks to kind of get to the right weight and get your strength up. The first response back from him after not speaking for 4.5 years, perfect, I'll take you on, can't wait to lift again, you're competing in 6 weeks. That was it. I was like, excuse me? This was in late October 2015. And if you do the math, 6 weeks later, it's through Thanksgiving.
Oh, man.
So weight classes in USAPL, USA Powerlifting Federation is the one I competed in. Weight classes used to be 148, 155, and 165 or 162, I believe. So in 2015, they changed it to where it was 162 or 148.
Oh, man.
So I was 155 at the time. So, sorry, it was 145 or 160. 15 pounds down.
Right.
I was 155. So I could either gain 5 pounds and compete at 160, or I can lose 10 pounds and compete at 145. So I had 6 weeks to do that. So with Joe, he had me on lockdown. I don't think I had one cheat meal in that 6 week period. Right. That includes Thanksgiving. So my
just skip
Thanksgiving that year,
Thanksgiving.
that Thanksgiving I had turkey, broccoli, and asparagus. That was it. I had a couple of potatoes, but like 1 or 2 scoops. That was it. My family's like, "What the fuck's wrong with you? Like, what are you doing this for?" I'm like, "Oh, I gotta make weight." Like I sounded like a high school wrestler or a fighter, but I was so driven to compete, and this competition was a qualifying competition.
Okay.
So for my weight class at 145, you're all 3 lifts. For those of you that don't know, it's deadlift, squat, and bench press. Your best of 3. You have to compile 1,000 pounds of all total to qualify for nationals.
boy.
So my coach, being the guy he was, he trained me the right way, not to go all out and to kind of blow myself out. It was really just to qualify so that I can really prep for a year later and qualify and blow myself out on nationals. So 6 weeks go by, I lost the weight. I actually got down to about 143 pounds. I drove up to Boston. I'm still living in New Jersey. I drove up to Boston by myself. I spent a weekend up in Boston. I competed. I was one of the first weight classes to compete because the lower weight class, you compete earlier in the morning. So I drove up on a Friday. I weighed in the next day on a Saturday morning, and I deadlifted 455. Now, mind you, I'm 143 pounds. I deadlifted 455, but my max was about 495. So I pulled 455. I only squatted about 385, even though my max was 415, and then I benched about 240. So my total was around 1060, 1070 between all 3. So I qualified for nationals in my first meet. I placed 6 out of 12 in my first meet out of everyone in my weight class. And then, 2 weeks later, I decided to move to Las Vegas. I decided to accept the job in Las Vegas. I'm sorry, I accepted the job on Thanksgiving, so a couple weeks prior. So I moved to Las Vegas January 2016, a month after I powerlifted, after I competed. And then I was still training for the next 3 to 4 months to compete that following October in Georgia for
So you had to
nationals.
come back.
I was helping manage a pool and day club on the Las Vegas Strip in 115-degree heat. My workouts became less and less because of the hours I was working. I started to gain weight. I lost a little strength, so I pulled out of nationals. It was unfortunate, but it just wouldn't have made sense. It would have been, I don't want to say a waste of my time, but it wouldn't have really amounted to anything other than the experience. So I pulled out of nationals. I continued to lift heavy. But then around that October, November time was when I truly started the wake up and work journey. So it kind of transitioned.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that kind of segues into my next question. All right. I'll combine these next 2 questions, but you already touched on it. You said you started in Jersey, ended up in, Nevada, and now you're in San Diego. And then you started that your brand. So did that help you develop your brand, or did it hinder, that development of that in that entire process?
Looking at kind of where success could have been. So I think it helped just because I'm a huge believer in self-growth, and I'm a huge believer in struggling to succeed. So what that means is I'm a big believer, just because I come from an area of where I've struggled a lot throughout my entire life, is that I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't have the mentality or mindset that I have today without the struggles that I've dealt with throughout my entire life. Now, I extremely believe if I started this brand in Jersey and I never left and I stayed in New Jersey, or if I started in Vegas and then moved back to New Jersey, which I almost did, and not a lot of people know about, I would have grown much quicker just because of the people that I knew that could have been around to help me, like all my best friends from college and people like you and Corey. Corey's been a day one supporter, so I knew I could have grown much quicker because of my reach there, but I don't think I would have done it the right way, and I don't think I would have put this much passion and purpose into the brand that I've been doing, just because it's been a one-man show predominantly for the last 3 years now. So I think moving to San Diego helped me advance it, just because it allowed me the time to kind of take a step back. So when I moved from Vegas to San Diego, I didn't have any money. I moved out here with my girlfriend. We met in Vegas. We moved out here together. She's from here, born and raised. I moved out here to take on a GM job at the Hard Rock downtown, running all the bars and a pool club. But we moved out here with not a lot of money. So what that meant was I had to slowly tailor back on the Wake Up and Work brand while waiting for that income to come in. But it gave me an opportunity to step back and realize what I needed to do. So in essence, I kind of slowed down marketing, I slowed down production, I slowed down designing, and everything slowed down. So I took a step back, I reflected, I looked at what I could do to help make the brand grow and go to the next level. So around about 7-8 months after we moved out here, now it's April, May 2019, looking at one of, what was your toughest moment in time in business is I understood that I needed to make a change in the branding and I need to undergo a rebranding of the product. Not just the product, but the look, the feel, the branding itself, the messaging, the mission, the vision, the values, everything. I had to redo it all. So I spent about 15 to 16 months from April 2019 through this past August of 2020 rebranding. I rebranded for the first 4 months with a new look and kind of what it would be. And then I spent about 8 to 10 months bringing in samples, which cost thousands and thousands of dollars to get the right quality, get the right feel, get the right fits, get the right product, the right idea, the right logos, colors, concept, everything. Market testing, doing polls online, sending samples to people to test it out. It was a long process and a very expensive one, but it was one that I had to do. And then looking forward to where it got me to when I relaunched in this past August, about 4.5 months, actually 4 months and 3 days ago. The first week of relaunch, I did better than in sales than the previous 2 years.
Hey man, that's great to hear. It sounds like that move definitely forced you to sit back a little bit and then, like you said, kind of rebrand and look at the bigger picture and kind of make you adjust, which is great.
Right, and pivoting was necessary, which some people don't know how to do because they're so emotionally attached to it. And this is my passion. It's something I am emotionally attached to and ambitious as fuck about. But I knew if I was going to take it to the next level and really excel to the next level, I had to make this move for the bigger picture.
The pandemic. Yes. As the show is titled as that, so we're going to get right into that, the focal point of the show. So how did the pandemic change things for Wake Up and Work from the business side and also the personal stuff that I want to see that you, because obviously you told me some things that happened personally with you, pretty much that like affected the business and whatnot. So let's go about that as far as the next question.
Yeah, so, I want to make it very clear not to desensitize the situation or sound insensitive whatsoever, because I've been in hospitality and I was in hospitality this entire year, and I was in an industry that has been one of the hardest hit by the pandemic. So, as part of the rebrand, my goal was to relaunch the brand around my birthday, which is March 25th. So I'm very tied to emotional, ideas and dates and stuff like that. So I thought it would have been cool to relaunch on my birthday. But obviously the pandemic hit and that didn't happen. So, but at the same time, it was a blessing in disguise. 2020 overall, outside of, financial lapses these last few months, has been a great year for me, not just, business-wise and for the brand and for the growth of the brand and the relaunch, but also in my personal life. So come January, the U.S. hasn't received Corona yet. Like, it's really not that big a deal yet. It's just overseas. It hasn't hit us yet. And come February, I'm waiting on a bunch of new orders, a bunch of shipment, probably about 200 units at the time, and I was getting delayed. It was getting delayed overseas, and my vendors were letting me know that they were dealing with, pandemic and shipping issues. So I was kind of concerned, right? So I didn't know what that meant for my product and everything I was paying for, because this stuff's already paid for. So I had a timeline of stuff to come in early February, and that stuff never ended up coming till mid to late April, and then some stuff didn't even come until June. So that's what the pandemic happened on, as far as like shipping wise. So mid-February, I was up for a promotion at work. Again, I worked at the Hard Rock downtown San Diego. Mid-February, I'm up for a promotion. So I get promised a promotion, I get promised a raise to kick off the first Monday in March. My girlfriend, Amelia, and I, we go away for our anniversary to Miami for a weekend in Miami. It's around late February. We come back. Still no promotion, still no raise. Getting told I'm getting the promotion and a raise in a week. A week goes by, it's now like March 6th or 7th or something. No promotion, no raise. And then that Friday, in the middle of a meeting, and this is the week that COVID just beat the shit out of the US and everything starts getting shut down. That Friday, all operations at my property that I was running ceased to exist. In the blink of an eye, shut down like that. Closed both my bars, closed my pool. So now everyone's in scramble mode, right? Like we're in meetings and all these events, and convention center down here in San Diego is canceling all these events. The city's up in flames. The entire country's freaking out because no one knows what's going on. So we felt those repercussions. And then for about the entire month of March, I had no venue open, but I was a salaried employee, so I was helping out around the hotel. So apart from running Wake Up and Work, I'm also at a full-time job, 50, 60, sometimes 70 hours a week during the summer. But now at this time, I'm only working 45, 50 hours a week. So I have 2 bars that are not open. So since I'm salary, I was working security, I was working front desk, I was working in the kitchen, I was working around the hotel, just doing perimeter walks, and then I was working in my department doing office work one day a week. So a lot of different hats that I was wearing there while also wearing all these different hats trying to grow Wake Up and Work. At the same time, with what's going on at the hotel, I have no idea what's going on with my product because it's all still sitting overseas. Some is sitting in Europe. So all this stuff got saved or held at customs for about 2-3 months. So my timeline's obviously getting pushed back to relaunch Wake Up and Work. At the time, I was freaking out, but then about a few weeks later, a month later, I understood it was the best thing for the brand just because it allowed me the time and opportunity to plan, prioritize, and strategize how I was actually going to relaunch and what that looked like. It also gave me an opportunity to save more money to spend on new designing concepts, new product, and new material. So it was a blessing for me. So early April, I received a 10% salary deduction. So that was my first financial hit. Now I'm still working full-time, salary, but I received a 10% deduction. So I'm losing out money there. Late April, the last day of April, I had to lay off. I had about 98 employees. I had to lay off 97. I laid off 97 employees in a matter of one day. It took me 9 hours to do, calling them individually. I had one employee that I was able to keep. It was a manager that worked at the hotel for about 5 years. And then unemployment. I wasn't eligible for unemployment, so I had my salary deduction, and everybody that I laid off was making more money than me on unemployment. The extra benefits of unemployment, people making about $2,000 a week, more than what I was making after my deduction. So I had 97 employees that I laid off that were not working whatsoever. I'm working 45, 50 hours a week, making a lot less money than them. So, but I saw the bright side. I'm still working. I'm still going to have it, this and that. For me, during this time, I was able to find the silver linings in both the business side and both my personal life. My personal life, which is something I've held on to since this whole thing started, was the amount of time I've been able to spend with my girlfriend will never happen again when things go back to normal. It will never happen. So we took advantage of being able to have that time together and spend together. We spent more time together since COVID started than the previous 2.5 years combined that we were together. It allowed us to grow our relationship, allowed us to get stronger together, to get better together, and just kind of become more of a, partnership and overcome this challenge that we were both facing together. And it's made us stronger than we've ever have been. Not that there was anything wrong with our relationship, it just made it so much better. And then for Wake Up and Work, it gave me the time to plan it out and execute better. So pushing into the summer, I worked all summer. We opened up our bars again. We opened up our pool. So I was running that 5 days a week, running the brand 2 days a week, and then every night after, working at the Hard Rock. And then my girlfriend's birthday is in late August. During this time, she's an esthetician, does eyelashes, waxing, and like facials and lip injections. She was looking at getting a salon. We were planning like 6 to 8 months from early August, so sometime earlier next year, like March or February, that we'd get a salon for her. An opportunity came about. She leased a salon, and we spent about 2 weeks prepping it, and we launched her salon on August 18th. August 20th, we take a trip to Puerto Vallarta for 5 days. We get back on August 24th at 10 p.m. I am awake until 6 a.m., prepping Wake Up and Work's website to launch August 25th, the very next day at 8 a.m. Prior to that, I hired 6 models. I brought in a photographer, videographer. We spent 6 hours all day doing photography in my in my living room, and then another 2 hours videotaping at a gym down the road, and then just kind of prepped the whole process of the relaunch between branding, photography, videography. So we went away for 4 days, came back, I was up all night, and then I relaunched that morning. And then that first week, like I said earlier, I did more sales and revenue in that first week than the entire 2 years combined. Not to say that those previous 2 years was way up here, because it wasn't, but that first week was just eye-opening to see the opportunity and possibility of what this brand can do.
All right, so we're going to go a nice little group question here. So I'm going to hit you for a 3-for-1 special. So obviously the year 2021 is coming up. So what are your plans for Wake Up and Work in 2021? And then we have, what is the ultimate goal for Wake Up and Work? And then my last one, I'm actually reverted after you answered all those. So as we go into the new year, we always have that number one moment of the year that we just experienced. So what is your best moment of 2020?
All right, so let's go in order. So let's start with plans for 2021. First and foremost, expansion and scalability, right? You got to be able to grow, got to be able to expand. So right now I have the benefit of having a big support base over on the East Coast, back in Jersey, where I'm from, having a support base in Las Vegas, Nevada, where I spent 3 years, and having a huge fitness base here in San Diego, which is one of the biggest fitness markets in the entire country, especially from a boutique perspective. Excuse me. But the biggest plan for Wake Up and Work in 2021 is expansion and scalability to be a recognizable brand. I think the biggest thing with that is, you're one of the affiliate athletes that I have in my athlete program. I'm now up to 55 athletes nationwide, and we have 2 athletes international that are in Italy. So it's just kind of getting that recognizable brand name out there and just kind of expanding and being able to scale to where it's recognizable. And then what I'm excited to see, and I know it's coming, is when I start to go to the gym and I see people wearing it and I have no idea who they are. So that's something that I'm looking forward to, just because people are talking about it a little bit more and more. People have reached out a little bit more and more to me about it and getting involved. So it's there. It's just kind of being able to scale and grow. What I've been doing, so kind of preluding back to talking about working at the Hard Rock, I was eventually laid off on Halloween this year, so about a little under 2 months ago. What I've been doing in those last 2 months, I've been teaching myself all Google ads, all Facebook ads, learning Adobe Premiere, Photoshop, Illustrator, how to cut and edit videos, how to produce ads the right way or campaigns online to really kind of help get the brand out there. So I've been doing a lot of learning. And what that's allowed me to do is kind of reset a little bit and chill out and kind of just learn what I need to learn, because I don't want to be singular faceted to where I only know one thing, and that's operating a business. I really want to know everything as far as like the marketing and strategizing part as well. So those are plans for 2021, just being a little bit more involved and intuitive on the marketing side. The ultimate goal for 2021 is scalability to where I'm one of the fastest growing brands in the entire country. That's not a pipe dream. It's going to start in the San Diego market really kind of being the fastest growing market here, and it's starting to become a little bit more recognizable, not to where it's scalable, so to speak, or to a sense. But my ultimate goal for 2021 is to be nationally recognized as one of the fastest growing brands out there. And I think my ability to kind of branch out and position myself from an athleisure lifestyle and fitness perspective will allow me to do that, as well as the affiliate marketing and influencers and athletes that I have nationwide. What keeps me motivated? Honestly, there's so many different ways to answer this question. At the crux of it, I just hate failure, and I'm so obsessed with succeeding, but I'm more obsessed with not failing than anything else. But at the crux of it, at the core, I just, I want to be happy and successful, and I want to get there on my own, and I want to be able to look back and not only say I made it, but that I made a difference. At the same time, having an incredible partner like my girlfriend is someone that really helps keep me motivated, and really being able to kind of build something together is what also motivates me.
Do you look at other brands and like that? Does that make you motivated? Like other like successful brands and stuff like that? Like,
oh fuck yeah, Hell yeah, bro. And it's not only that, right? Imitation is the biggest form of flattery, right? So I don't want to imitate any of these brands. I don't want to be the next Gymshark or next Live Fit or this or that. But what I do is I take inspiration from it, right? It gives everyone ideas, and I'll be at the gym and I'll see what's trending, what people like, and I'll take inspiration from that. So yeah, I see what these brands do and I see what they've accomplished.
That's what I was telling Cam earlier. Just like when you go into a supermarket, there's a million damn different brands of bread or cheese. Like not one company is stopping what they're doing.
Exactly. You have to have the right people involved. You have to have the drive and ambition to get there, but you have to act on it. People have all this ambition, these thoughts and goals, but they don't act on it. They don't put in the work to get to the results, right? So they don't wake up to understand what they can do, and they don't do the work to get there. That's what I'm kind of trying to change, and that's what the Wake Up and Work brand is kind of promoted to do. It's to implore people to make those changes, to wake up to realize what they can do, and to work to get the results they want to get. That's where the brand is going, and that's the entire bigger picture, and which is what I just want to help people understand and realize. So yeah, I see what they do, and it's inspiring, and I pull inspiration and ideas from it, but I don't want to be, Gymshark 2.0 or Live Fit 2.0. I want to be Wake Up and Work 1.0. I want that W to be recognizable across the world. You guys, first and foremost, thank you guys for checking it out. I appreciate your time and attention and support. Check out FactsInToFitness on Instagram. Good things coming, big things coming. As far as Wake Up and Work, check it out at wakeupandwork.com. It's WAKEUP, the letter N, WORK.com. On Instagram, check it out at wakeup_and_work. Facebook, Wake Up and Work. And then newly joined on TikTok, Louis_Pisano. Some motivational shit coming your way. Starting on January 1st, actually, I'll be sending out daily affirmations for 365 straight days. Join and sign up on wakeupandwork.com to get those daily. Everyone needs a daily push. Why not get it from me? A lot of opportunity for growth, though.
But yeah, Lou, man, I appreciate you having you on the show, kicking the Facts and the Fitness podcast off for the episode 1. We'll be doing this again in the near future. A nice little update as the pandemic process part 2. Hopefully this shit is over. And like I said, we got more coming. Make sure you follow us. Follow Louie. Follow Billy Boxing Fighting Comes First. All the accounts attached to the Facts and the Fitness podcast. And as we say, information is key. Results are proven. All right, so that's what we'll be giving throughout this whole show each time. So stay tuned also for the next topic of discussion on the Facts and the Fitness podcast, which will be released within the next week or so. And we might have another special guest on the show. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, so that is episode 1. Guys, stay safe, stay blessed, and straight facts, man.